hey, you go be fancy, and I'm going to go be winning. I don't know who said that originally, but it's a line that Coach Nick uses a lot, and it perfectly describes this month's guest. Paul Campbell is a development director for the National Wild Turkey Federation and entrepreneur. And Paul, he lost 75 pounds with the help of a couple of our DIY programs and has proven you really don't need to be fancy to win. Here's how he did it. Episode 3 of the Fit to Hunt podcast is live. Hey, Paul. What makes the wild turkey so great?
Oh man. I think the thing that I love the most is just the interaction, man. Like it's everyone's like, oh, elk hunting's great, because you can communicate with them, and I'm sure it is, but like what other wild animal can you literally get into a fight with? Right? That's what you're doing. You are meeting the wild turkey on an equal playing field if you do so. If that's the way you want to do things. And it's a battle, man. It's a battle with a wild animal. You're on his home turf. And it's just that's the best, man. There's no other hunting like it.
Right.
And nothing. It's one-on-one. And you've got to outsmart the best eyes, the best ears in the woods. It's a battle, man.
Yeah.
The moment you walk out of your truck or out of your back door into your woods, man, it's an all-out battle. That's why it's the best.
We were coming home from the farm today. We had just pulled on the main road. And as I'm coming up over this hill, a gobbler walks up out of the ditch. I thought I was going to hit him. Probably wasn't that close. But just for that split second, that beard was fully displayed. The sun had come down. And you know what they look like. They're so iridescent with all of that color. And I was going 65, 70 miles out. But you might as well just took a snapshot because that bird was just sitting there. They're something else, man.
It's like I love them. I love them. They're all like greased up, man. They look like an oil slick with 2 legs. That's what they look like, man. I freaking love it.
So my friend, you're skinny, right? You have done something.
There is. You could say a lot of things about me. As a human being, skinny is not one of them. But I will say, man, like I've even thinned down a little bit from Texas last year. Looking at those pictures, just because we're getting close, man. Turkey season is like front of mind for me all the time.
Right.
But it's like it's like a carnival in my head nonstop, 24/7 right now. And so I'm always looking at those videos that, that Jim and I took down there.
Yep.
And I was like, man, I even thinning out. And, I've been, diet and my face is all puffy today. I had Skyline chili, venison Skyline chili. You're from St. Louis. You guys don't have Skyline chili.
We don't have Skyline. No.
Dude, I love it. It's Cincinnati chili. That's the thing. It's an Ohio thing for sure. You either love it or hate it.
Yeah.
But I just ate like probably 4 pounds of spaghetti. It was amazing, man.
You know what? I think you of all people have earned it. So for the listeners, Paul is roughly 70 to 75 pounds down from, I guess I've known you, is it 2 years now or we're going on 3? Time flies.
2021, man.
Okay.
Yeah. So 4. We're in our 4th year of friendship.
I like that.
Man.
We hunt together. We talk fitness together. We met on a podcast, the O2 podcast, as a matter of fact. Yeah. So
wearing the shirt, man, just
wearing the shirt.
By accident, wearing the shirt, that podcast with Andrew Muntz. Well, gosh, I'd have to go back and look. Maybe it was 22. I think it was 22. Right. It was like January, February of 2022. I think you had messaged us on Go Wild and said, hey, would you guys like to be, would you like to do a podcast, with you as the guest? And the guys at Go Wild had highly recommended you. And Andrew has been, he's been doing CrossFit and been on his own fitness thing for 20 plus years.
Right.
And at the time, I was a fat slob. I mean, just in more ways than one, man. Just more ways than one, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, physically, all of it. Like, it was in very, very just bad time in my life. And, like outwardly, man, like that appearance reflected the internal chaos that I had.
Right.
And just fed each other. But yeah, man, I was 325, 330 in my heaviest, which is like freaking crazy, man, when you think about it. And when I think about it, and I see pictures of it. I mean, it was just wild, man. It was just unbelievable. But yeah, we had a podcast. I don't want to steal your thunder. I don't want to interrupt your question asking, because you guys, I'm excited about this, man. I like talking about it. It's fun.
The question that I have, and again, and I don't even know if it's a question, it's more of a conversation, but we're talking, and I get this notification while we're recording this podcast, and I remember vividly, you picked up 2 programs. You picked up a base conditioning, and you picked up a strutter program, right? And at the time, I thought to myself, how kind, right? I've essentially said, hey, I'd like to be on your show. You purchased something from me. I thought that's great. Didn't think you weren't going to do well with it. Didn't think you would. It was more along the lines of, a lot of times these are very transactional. Someone buys a program and that's it. You, on the other hand, started talking, and you started communicating. And I think the thing is, walk me around this one, because you made a statement to me at one point. You said there was a point in time where you could not get up off the ground turkey hunting without rolling over on all fours and pretty much grabbing a tree, and kind of go from there, Paul.
Yeah. So if we met the 2022, the 2021 season, and really the 2 or 3 seasons preceding it, I had started bringing a chair into the woods, public land, because my back would hurt. And like you said, and dude, I bet I broke like 4 chairs. Just snap the arms right off of them. And so turkey hunt, I would just be on the ground, man, and I would literally have to like roll over, and just prop myself up on my elbows and just get off the ground. And that season 21, a friend of mine, Kenny, had gastric bypass and had lost, a person worth of weight, 140 pounds or whatever it was. And so for 20 years, like, I've been running circles around him, and we're hunting public land in Southern Ohio, and I'm sucking air trying to walk up these hills, and he's just skirting up there. And so I knew, like, a year before we had talked, like, I wasn't happy, right? I wanted to make a change.
Right.
And man, it was just, it's when it gets to a point where, like, a person is so overwhelmed with the situation that they're in. And it could be, pick a situation, right? Where you just don't know what to do.
Right.
You need someone to say, okay, 1, listen, and 2, like, these are the things that you should try. And that's really what, like, when we were talking about your program, at some point you were like, you can't do it all at once. It's gonna be small incremental changes. And that was what kind of resonated with me. Figure out the diet, figure out small pieces. And when I looked at the programs, it was very much like, you don't have to do everything at once. It's not overwhelming. And it's you put the effort that you can into it, and then increase that effort, right? But it's not like you go to some of the, like, someone like me physically at the time, if I'd have gone to a CrossFit class, it'd kill me. I probably would have walked out, right?
Right.
I had gone to a gym with some friends and would work out, and I couldn't, like, put a shirt on because I was trying to, like, keep up with those guys. And but I couldn't put a shirt on the next days because my elbows and biceps and shoulders were racked.
Right.
Excuse me. And so it was something I was able to, to, like, kind of piece in what worked for me, what I had available to me, the exercises, a lot of the body weight, a lot of the movement. And that was the thing that was, like, really the most important for me. And like you said, you and I had just, struck up a friendship, but it was from like the questions, like, well, what about this? Like, dude, it was basically like, listen, I want to get off the ground. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to get off the ground. And I told you, I texted you, it probably would have been the spring of 2023. The first time that like I had to get up and move, and I stopped hunting with a chair. I had lost some weight. I was feeling better, stronger, small incremental changes, right? Nothing, no crash diets, man, just process. And I had to move on a gobbler, and I just stood up and started walking, and I started laughing.
I know.
Like out loud. There was like one of those pivotal moments in my life. I just stood up and I texted you. I'm like, dude, you never gonna believe what just happened. And it sounds so like trivial, but just getting off of the ground and walking, like just standing up and moving, not like rolling around. That's when I was like, all right, I like this. I like being strong. I like being active and focusing on those movements that I can take and apply into things that I love. And that just happened to be turkey hunting. So
as a coach, I get texts like that all the time. I will tell you that is one of my top 10 favorite texts I got all the time, because I could just visualize, you're not supposed to really be giggling in the woods, but right. But at any rate, that was awesome, man.
I love it, man.
What made, I know we talk about simplicity, we talked about the small changes. Okay. But like, and again, we talked before coming on, this doesn't need to be a endorsement for All Things Fit to Hunt, but what about the programming? Because there's a lot of programs out there. What about this made it work for you? That's what I want to know.
I think that the one thing that really made it work, one, I love the videos that are attached to the PDF. That was really neat, because I would look at like the Pal-Off. If I'm saying that, I have no idea what that is.
Sure.
Never heard of it.
Right.
Watch the video. I'm like, okay, to put the strap up, yeah, dude. And so that was something that was really neat. And the one thing, like there's some of the like bear crawls, like the gym that I'm at, I don't have room for that.
Right.
So it was flexible. It was a flexible program. I can add in things, and then I would call and say, hey man, I want to focus more like core strength, lower body, and and so there was just some of the, well, dude, let's rock, let's walk, let's run, the hayfield runs.
I remember that. Yep. Yep.
And so it was just flexible, right? And it gets to a point where you've got to have that self-discipline to say, okay, I can do 2 sets of 10 and fly through it and not push myself, or I'm gonna push, and so you just got to be cognizant. And that was a neat thing to start building. And there are some things that I've incorporated outside of the program. And so I've just kind of like made it my own, and the base and the extreme shooter, take things that I like. The bug. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Dude, what a ridiculous movement.
Oh, you look silly doing it, right?
But you do it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy, man. And so I like stuff like that. I like things that, that target like the muscles and the movements and the flexibility. Like, dude, I mean, you've seen how big I am. I can touch my toes. Yeah. How cool that was the first time that I'm like, hey, Ashley, my wife, I'm like, hey, check this out. I just bent over in the middle of the living room and just touched my toes. I'm like, that's freaking cool.
Right.
And it's just stuff like that, man. Makes you feel good. But
what's interesting too, and I think we did talk a little bit about interval training and whatnot, but the hayfield thing, that was you. Yeah. I don't recall sitting back and saying, hey, I want you to go do these sprints in these hayfields. We talked about that. It's called fartlek training, which is basically randomized training. All right. And so you went to a hayfield and was running sprints with walk intervals, and you sent that video, and I thought to myself, this is perfect, because he's taking this program that, sure, it's written on paper, but it's meant to be organic, and he's starting to build around that. And you've made it now to where, again, I always tell people when they say, 70, 75 pounds, go pick up a 75-pound dumbbell or kettlebell and just carry that around. I mean, carry that around. That's
crazy.
Now, mind you, I understand it's head to toe. It's not just a set weight. That's why you were having trouble getting up those hills in Ohio. And my gosh, in a couple of weeks when we're down in Texas, those are big hills too, Paul.
Those are some big hills, man.
Those are some big hills.
Yeah, those are some big hills. And it's dude, it's just funny, man. Like and this is the one thing. And there's some of my friends that have they're starting to get to that point where they're, I'm 42, right? And my chiropractor, he has this statement where, as young men, we rob from our youth. We rob from the ability to drink all night and wake up at 5 a.m. and just go to work. We rob from our youth to eat like however we want and still be flexible and pliable and the strength. And then we're fathers, we're husbands, our bodies, we just get a little older and we've robbed from our youth. And he made the point, he's like, man, that 38 to 50 time frame, and really like 35 to 50, you either keep robbing from that youth and then it's just gone, or you add into it and you thank yourself, later in life. And those were the things that I really like started to think of. It's like, dude, my joints hurt all the time, my back, my shoulders, because I was a sedentary, like I just didn't do anything. And now they hurt a little bit because I'm like, I'm getting stronger, and I like it, man. I like that. And I'm starting to see like just playing with my kids, is like, it's easier. It's more enjoyable, like wrestling on the ground. It's more enjoyable. Like, man, it's such an easy thing to look back on and really appreciate, but it has been a lot of work, has been a lot of dedication, and there's been ups and downs.
Sure.
Right. There's been progress and then there's been, a retraction and that's okay. Right. Like that's going to happen. And, but overall, man, it's just been, I've really enjoyed it. So
I love the fact that this stuff is it's not fancy. It's very simple. It's rooted in what we know works. And honestly, any person that we work with, everyone's going to have a little bit different flavor to it. I mean, do you know how many programs we put Palloff presses in because it's a great exercise, but you use it different than someone else. So Jim Richmond, we're all making that trip here in a few weeks. He came into the gym Wednesday night with me, and we worked through the Extreme Strutter program with him. But I took time, and I said, okay, we're going to do this move, and now we're going to do this move. And so I would stop and I would say, this is because, and I would lay out the reason from a either hiking or crawling or core strength or flexibility, because I wanted him to be able to see that the reason we put these exercises together wasn't just a random splash of, hey, we're going to smash you. It was because they're designed to make you a better turkey hunter, specifically this program, Rio's and Merriam's. So I love the fact that you've done this by being super simple, but yet really consistent. That's huge.
Man, that it has been. And you had I commented on one of your Facebook or Instagram posts that, you made the comment, like, if you've only got 60% to give that day, just give that 60%, like you just got to give something. And the consistency has been the thing that I struggle with, just because I travel for work, and we've talked about this. I mean, there may be a point in the summer where I'm ripping, man, I'm riding the bike, I'm exercising, I'm eating right. It's freaking summer, dude. I'm swimming, I'm outside all the time, and I'm 255. And then cold weather hits and I start traveling for work and deer hunting. And then the next thing I know, I'm 265. I'm like, what just happened? And it's just, you just got to keep with it. And I think it's been the biggest thing, is like keeping my flexibility and my strength. I've tried to be consistent with that. My diet is the thing that I still struggle with, just one, because I've got a job that, I might be on the road for 7 or 8 days straight, and I'm eating out every freaking day.
Right.
That's just tough, man. It's tough to do that. I've got kids that are like, they're little and they want to eat freaking pizza and all the bull crap. And there are days I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this.
Right.
We're going to do it.
Right.
And it's, but at the end of the day, man, like I feel better. I look better. I hunt better. And just generally, man, that consistency has been, just in the gym, even if it's just enough, man. And that's okay. I'm not training for a UFC fight. I'm not training for a freaking Ironman. I'm trying to hunt turkeys, Jeremy, and look good naked. That's all I'm trying to train for.
And I would say you're going to do well at both of those. One I want to see, the other I don't. We're going to hit some hills in a couple of weeks. So, last year you walked 11 miles on that ranch, right?
Yeah.
That first day.
In one day.
One day, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
What, since you've done it, right? We've both done it. So what's different this year? I mean, not even just from a fitness standpoint. I mean, you've seen it. How are you going to hunt it this year?
Just that ranch. I mean, it's like anytime you go to a property, whether it be private or public for the first time, you just get, I always just kind of like hang out the first time I'm there.
Right.
Especially if I'm just trying to figure it out. I just walk around, man. I look for sign. I listen for turkeys. I try to figure out like where they're at. And Jim and I went out and I, for people listening, I completed my first Grand Slam last year.
Congratulations.
And so thank you, man. That Rio was, obviously part of that. And so I had a ton of pressure on myself when we were there. And Jim, as gracious as could be, was like just off the rip, man. We had a dead Rio Grande within the first 2 hours we were there.
I know.
And then they were just gone, right? And I was on turkeys every day. Jim and I, we walked and walked and walked. I saw something on the map. I'm like, I want to go look at this, just see if this, and it was wrong. Like there was zero turkeys.
Right.
But on that walk, like I saw a bunch of turkeys in the bottoms, right? I'm in the high country. There's awdads and freaking fallow deer and all these rams and everything running around. And I'm looking out and I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of turkeys. That's what they like, and at that point it was like, okay, I got this place. I understand this place a little better. So, what's different this year, once you learn where they're at and how they operate, you can be way more efficient. And that goes for anything. And I think that, just this year, the pressure, the Grand Slam is done.
Right.
And I think, like now I want to see Jim kill a turkey. That's the pressure that I'm feeling because he helped me kill that first Rio. And then he didn't get an opportunity,
right.
The rest of the time we were there. Corbett Boys was a bloodbath.
that will go down as probably one of the coolest ones I've ever been at, and it will never happen again as far as that goes. But
yeah, man, what a moment, man, especially with your son. So that was a ton of fun. But yeah, man, and just like physically, I've worked a lot, like focused, like I said earlier, like on my flexibility, on ankle strength, being flexible. I've got good arch supports. I went through and did that, which has been instrumental, and just my body feeling better. So man, I'm just looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to this season. I'm looking forward to, challenging myself physically and mentally. And that's the thing. That's one of the things that I love is that physical challenge. And I've always loved it.
Right.
But now, like, 2021, right? I could have one physical day and then I'm just wiped for 5 or 6 days straight. And now it's not like that, because my body's there, man. I may be a little slower than I was day one, but man, I'm still in the fight for sure.
May not be good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was, right?
Toby Keith, buddy.
God rest his soul. I know. Hey, Texas, that's number one. And then where are we heading? Where are you going?
Man, so I'm taking off from Texas. I'm driving right to Alabama.
Okay.
I got a 3-day hunt in Alabama.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to head home, rest up, get back to work, hang out with family, and then the Ohio season starts like right after that. So I've got Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, and then a big swing with some folks from work, Pennsylvania, New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, maybe Maine, if I'm fortunate enough. So
wow,
dude, it's all hands on deck, and my turkey hunting time is going to change a little bit. My girls are getting to the point where I want them to start turkey hunting.
Sure.
And they'll become number one.
Right.
So there will be a couple of years I think I'll have to slow down a little bit, and until they can start coming. Well, I'll just bring them with me.
Right.
Here in a few years. But my wife's had some work changes. That her schedule's a little more demanding than it has been in the past. So this is kind of my year to get it out of my system for a while as best as I can. And 26, I'll probably have to refocus and run a business and do all the fun stuff that dads get to do with teaching their kids. So, but none of it's bad.
Speaking of that business,
yeah.
How do we get a hold of you? Hang on, let me back up a second.
Yeah.
What is this turkey season? Tell us what we got going on this website and this podcast. I want to hear more about that.
Man, thanks for letting me talk about that. It's turkeyseason.com is the name of the website. The podcast is the Turkey Season Podcast. Pretty easy branding there. We're talking about turkey hunting every day of the year. It's been a kind of like an evolution of the brand and evolution of the mindset. But the one thing that is firmly at the center of it, of that brand, is there's a lot of content about people talking about like how to kill a turkey, right? How to call to them, how to find them, how to yelp to them, how to pattern a shotgun. One of the things that I really like is just the human side of turkey hunting, the history, the culture, the people that make it, what we love, right?
Uh-huh.
The history. And so I try to focus on that. I try to focus on the people that make turkey hunting enjoyable, right? That make it entertaining and give people a platform and just have a lot of fun. The website, you can buy turkey calls on it. You got some cool stuff coming out. It's got a mapping feature that you can, plan your turkey hunt. You can see state regulations, season dates, bag limits, stuff like that. And we got a little content coming there, but it's hard being, trying, and this as well.
Oh, yeah.
And you've done a great job, having a full-time job, being a father, doing all these things, and then trying to run like a side business. It's tough, man.
It is.
So it's getting better. There's more and more going on. We've got an app that goes live here just in a few weeks, man.
Awesome.
That I'm really excited about.
Awesome.
Man, that's going to have all of that data, all that historical information, some AI features in there. It's just imagine like OnX, but geared like specifically towards turkey hunters.
More turkeys. Yeah.
With just a tremendous amount of information behind there, and you can kind of teach it and do all these cool things. It's really neat, man. I think people are going to like it. So, but that's it, man. The podcast has been a ton of fun. I get some really cool people on there. We talk turkey hunting, talk life. The things I love diving into, like what we have, man. Like, why do you do what you do, and what is it? What makes you tick as a turkey hunter? So. There's some cool people, man, in this world that like to talk turkey hunting. So
I agree.
That's it. And I keep coughing. I'm getting over this dang. I had that sickness. I guess over a week at this point.
Everybody.
I feel great. That cough is just holding on.
You got a couple weeks to get rid of it. We're good.
That's it, man.
We're good.
I pushed it real hard today at the gym.
Well, hang on. Turkeyseason.com.
That's it.
All right.
Turkeyseason.com. You can listen to just Turkey Season Podcast, part of the OK's Hunter Podcast Network.
Right.
Which is really cool, man. It's been a ton of fun. I've got some really cool guests coming up. Bruce Hall, David Hawley from the Wild Turkey Report, works for Mossy Oak.
Yeah.
And then probably one of the coolest podcast interviews I've ever done, Toxie Hayes, the founder of Mossy Oak.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
That's awesome.
It's a real good one.
That's awesome, man. Man, I can't wait to see you. We're gonna have another really good time.
Dude, we got to get a workout in. I was thinking about that. I was like, I'm going to try to get there maybe the night before and sleep on your couch again. And we'll just go to the Iron Hive or whatever it is and just, we'll throw down, man.
We'll do it. You want to do it?
You know what I've been getting into, man?
Tell me.
I love the kettlebells.
Oh, yeah.
So like the Gorilla, and then I've incorporated some of I do it like once or twice a week, the Simple and Sinister workout. Yeah. Have you seen that?
Uh-huh.
It just swings and then American get-ups.
Yep.
That's what we're going to call them. And it's been a lot of fun, but the kettlebell within your program, I just love that core strength. I love that mobility. And that's the thing that really, dude, like as a turkey hunter, the mobility within the programs, that's like the number one thing, man. Just that core strength and flexibility have been unbelievable. So
you're going to get to test it a lot, and I'm excited to see it. So
I love it, man.
Paul, it's always a pleasure, man. I appreciate your time, especially on daylight savings. It's all weird today.
Man, what a weird day. And it was like 60 degrees here in Central Ohio.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
was all. I just felt like it felt great, but it just felt wrong, you know? So
Well, buddy, we will see you in a few weeks, and
looking forward to it, man. Thanks for having me.
thanks again. Hey, food plot season is quickly approaching, and it's a little early to plant, but we've been really busy on the ranch the last few weekends doing soil samples and preparing plots for getting planted after turkey season concludes. And this year, we're going to be using Hit List seed again on our farms. Great product line. Hit List offers an incredibly wide variety of seed options. And we're going to be planting the summer blend in 3 of our plots and converting that to one of the fall blends in September for both our deer herd and our turkey flock. So we're trying to feed them, and we're trying to improve soil health at the same time. And as a small business, we love supporting other small businesses like Tim and the crew over at Hit List. If you're interested, visit hitlistseed.com and use code FTH10 to save 10% on your order. Paul has really done a great job of taking control of his health and fitness, and over the last few years, he's become a really great friend. His workouts, well, they are not fancy, but they are consistent, and he's been able to evolve everything from how he works out to how he's leveled up with his nutrition, which not only improves his outdoor performance, it's allowed him to level up in every other aspect of his life. If you're ready to make a change in your workouts or need help leveling up, we would love to talk to you. Thanks for listening to today's conversation. And as always, you stay fit to hunt.